So this is going to be a good one. I've purposely put it as bad. I could have put it as ugly, but I wanted to put it as bad. I don't know if you saw a clip. This is like a little bit of tiny drama we're going to lean into here. There was a clip where the person, like, here's the thing. Everyone keeps saying this is Adam's editor on YouTube. As far as I know, it's just a guy who does like freelance YouTube editing. And Adam is one of the people that has like paid him to do it. And I believe he's also French, I think. I think I saw a French flag there. And this guy who was like Adam's video editor, but again, I think that's a bit misleading to say that. It sounds to me more like it's a very loose connection. It's not like it's Adam's like general second in command and this is like Adam Media bringing out the fucking clip. He's basically done a load of clips where, because he's a shit poster guy anyway on Twitter, he's done a load of clips where he actually like makes fun of Adam's teammates in Rogue and will try to make it look like they're idiots. Like, so he showed one clip that Dom showed on stream where he basically does like pauses the video when Larson's on Galio in the Baron pit, and he does like one of those like silly, like, you know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 4 choice. Like, what will he do now? Tick, 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 tick. Will he choose to, you know, flash engage in, or will he back off and just play for kid? And the problem when he does all this, right, is that would be really funny if you'd nailed the analysis. If the analysis was right and we were playing a game of what's the right answer, you'd be. But the problem, as Dom showed, is the guy isn't a high level player or understanding guy of League of Legends. So essentially, he completely ints his own like analytical framing of the joke, because actually he clearly wants you to say you should be like a man and sort of flash in with Galio or whatever, but he doesn't realize if you actually look at the situation, you would essentially instantly just get popped if you did that. You would just throw the whole game, and listen, I could find you a million angles where Larson was too passive or didn't go in or played at the edge of the fight. That wasn't it. That was not the one. So my bad point is this: one of the problems, and by the way, I don't exclude myself in this. I am aware part me talking shit actually is a feature, not a bug, because I bring people who are smarter than me, know more about the game, so then they can bounce off that and say something better, or even say I'm wrong, or if they're really cool, build it into a point so it sounds like I knew what I was talking about, and then they just make it sound dope with a bunch of other shit I didn't really think about. That's just a little pro tip for you there, Peter. So you can do that, but I don't pretend I actually know. Like I always tell people, I have very limited times I'll ever talk about a matchup. Maybe sometimes top links. I've watched all the carry top laners. I don't even tend on like midwave to even pretend like I know where you slightly too far forward on that one. I can't know. Like there's so many extra factors I know I don't know, as it were, about how the pro game works versus just what you play in solo queue. But I do feel like the problem is, even though it's great to have discussion, fans really do think that there's a 1-for-1 between how champions and situations work from their games in solo queue and how it works in pro play. And it allows them to think things. I'll give you the analogy. Everyone knows Counter-Strike here. In Counter-Strike, they will say a term, it's my number one trigger, bro. They will take one of the top 5 AWPers, the sniper in the game, and they'll go, he missed a couple of easy shots. And I go, bro, that's only an easy shot for you against your level in matchmaking. Like, even that, like, easy shot isn't the same at the pro level. Like, for example, in the pro level, they dodge in a different way, and they actually time, by the way, against AWPers to make you fucking shoot so that they can all run out, etc. They have so many little tricks that you won't notice if you're a casual fan that never ever happen in your game. And so even things that you think are a good angle or an obvious angle, it isn't. And also, most players have like a base meta understanding that's higher than all of us who aren't pros. So even the thing we think's obvious, that's something everyone's aware can happen. And so sometimes it's inferred you don't do that because that's the obvious thing to. So you have to essentially, I get this is hard because I fall in this trap myself. It's really hard to remember that you don't know what you don't know as a casual fan. So my bad point is just how people analyse specific players. It's one thing if you look generally at the scoreboard. The guy who's 8-1-7 probably had a carry game. That's not a crazy statement. The guy who's 1-8-4 probably had a bad game. We can all do really big picture stuff, or maybe we can see someone carried a team fight. But I do think people are going way too hard. They're doing like micro analysis of these fucking clips as if they're like Chovy themselves, and they're like, oh, you should have cleansed. Like, you know when they used to do it on Reddit with every fucking high outplayer, like, oh, but he could have also actually autoed a guy there. It's like, wait, he's doing like a fucking pentakill. What are you talking about? So what do you guys, I've queued you up for this. You are both coaches. What do you think about this? Like fans, it's almost like the unearned confidence of how obvious it is to them how play should be analysed. I think it's a really poor area of this game, mate. I think fans usually are wrong. I'm probably wrong when I do that.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. I think there's a difference between like just social media and like people being like polarizing and so on. Because social media is all about, I don't know, you just throw something far to the left or far to the right just to make a point, and
right.
then like start a discussion or something like this. So
right.
I've seen people just like saying this guy is the worst player I've ever seen him. Like obviously he is not the worst player you have ever seen in your life. And then I think that in a like outside of the working environment where like in social media it's just all about like wasting your time. You just spend their time there.
Right.
You're just it's just entertainment. So if it's entertainment purposes, then I can see it. But if it's really about like making a point or making somebody better, or if you have like an interest beyond just shit talking, then I think it's very valuable if you guys are giving your points without judging instantly towards something. So, and our team is the same. I've seen so many players in the beginning when they joined the team, especially in my last years, because I've coached like people at the very beginning. They just one of my favorite sentences is like, why don't they just? So it's like,
Yes.
why don't they just go in? Why doesn't he just flash? I like asking as a question, but they didn't even think about it. They're just like, he should go in, right? And like, why is he not doing this? He's clearly bad. And it would have been way more interesting if he's just listed the different points that the person has to think about to actually go in. And in that case, it would either open up that you're right or wrong, or even open up the discussion of how fucking difficult the decision is in that point. Because if he goes in and he didn't like think about like the 10 points and he forgot the 11th one, then he's just dead and he threw the team in like the game instantly. Like you can't take back a flash W into nobody. Oh, this guy has cleansed flash. There's a locket you didn't think about, or this guy is already charging. There's a Poppy ultimate out of no vision, knocked away your team. Well, you're alone into 5 people. So yeah, I think the why don't they just or blah blah blah, I think doesn't belong into like professional esports, like athleticism, like this entire space. But if it's about like shit talking on the internet and just making people interested and like making a point, like I can see that. So yeah, it's not where I'm fishing for my ideas,
Okay.
So for this, I'll be honest, I'm not that on social media. I just like had one of the disadvantages of having a kid is that you just don't have time for as much social media. So I haven't seen as much of this drama.
Wait till he's older, or he.
Oh no!
And you will have to spend a lot of time discussing social media with them.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking forward to that. But I just had a quick skim through. But this guy is like, so Adam had a pretty bad week this week. Did he like do a clip video of Adam?
I'm going to guess no. I'm going to go ahead and guess no.
Okay.
I don't even know what happened, by the way. I have no idea of the
No,
context.
it's just I just meant it as an example because people who are fans will be aware because this was some on Dom stream, so they'll just be the reference point.
So it's kind of so I get it more. So it's not like rogue or bad. It's like my player is in a horrible situation. I'm a fan of my player.
It felt like that, yeah.
So
but it's like the thing where if like I'll give you the example. If in football your favorite striker doesn't score, you don't go, oh, Mister. You go, the fucking midfielder didn't deliver the ball to him. You just do that. Don't you? You deflect the blame to someone else. I think it was that behaviour.
I will say that my thing on analysis is that I think. One thing that took me a lot of time, like it took me a few years to work out, like 5 years or something in esports, is that everyone is biased, right? Like everyone is biased, and I'm guilty of this too, right? Like I know if I see, I'm more willing to forgive like Jojo running it down than like Hillside running it down, right? Because I know Jojo well, like we work together, like there are things which he has done which are much worse than things that Hillside has done, right? Like let's be really, really clear. But so it's hard sometimes to distance yourself, right? And I think that if you have a vested interest in somebody, then you want to see them, you want to see them do well, and like it's very, very hard to catch your biases. And this is one of the things, like sometimes when I have a tier list and somebody disagrees with my tier list, I don't say you're wrong. I go and say, this is my tier list. Like here, you're following me for my opinion. I could be wrong, right? But you don't like the opinion, go and follow somebody else, right? Like I don't care, right? Somebody else will do a tier list. Maybe you agree with those. But when I see somebody give an opinion online or on Twitter, it's more like it's not a justification or a repudiation of my beliefs. It's like, oh, that guy thinks like this. That's very, very interesting, right? Even sometimes even the hardest, like most aggressive super fan of the team, sometimes, I see like a T1 apologist post, right? Like, and when T1 are playing badly, obviously not when they're playing well, right? And I think, that's interesting, right? Like, obviously, I think that this post is obviously stupid, right? But like, T1 fans think like this. Oh, that's interesting. So this is how they justify why their team is not so good right now. And to me, that's where I think the interest is, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why I try to be positive so much, because sometimes when you're negative, like it's better to be wrong because you've been too positive than wrong to be too negative, because like then you kind of risk damaging somebody's, you risk damaging somebody's career, or like you know giving somebody unjustified flame for something maybe that they don't deserve. And
by the way, that last paragraph basically is your biography, but keep going.
But yeah, like that's one of the reasons why. Okay. Like, I think that I think that basically we have a responsibility to be really, really careful about what we say when we're being negative, but maybe fans don't have that responsibility, right? Yes. But like, if this guy here tomorrow did like a jokey thing on Adam, right, just for the last week, I would think, holy moly, this is actually hilarious. Right. But I think it's a little bit more difficult, because it kind of, obviously Rogue going through a rough patch. Obviously, we spoke about Patrick last week, right, on the show, and like,
a rough Patrick,
it's very rarely.
It's
very rarely like one thing, right? So that's what I say. Sorry, that was a nothing answer, but
no, it was all good. We get what you mean. I just love that. That's Peter's like a fucking orthodox saint or something. Mate. He's too good for this world, isn't he, Sheepy? Like, he actually looks on Twitter. He sees like a T1 fan going like, "Yo, this guy's shit," and he goes, "Interesting. I wonder what he meant behind that though." When he says shit,
truck and say T1 is shit. I supported them 20 years, but they lost one game. Fuck them.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's just for entertainment. Like, in the end, if you want to, it's an app on your phone about like a very niche thing, and like sports, and then from that esports, and then League of Legends, and then it's European, and then it's LEC, and then it's only English speaking, and blah blah blah. You go down into the river. And if somebody wants to voice an opinion for that, I think it's also not. It's so important that you don't take that too seriously, because the lifespan of that shit is like that quickly. So I think it's more about like, how do you value your time and what kind of things you want to like. So if I have like 10 messages and 9 of them are negative and 1 is positive and gives like a good insight, or like maybe 1 is negative but it's like helpful, then it's like, oh yeah, very nice. I can respond to that. That like does a benefit, or like I can engage with that. Like, that's my jam. But if it's like just like useless stuff, then it's like okay, well, that's not about me. That's more about you, and then you just ignore it and keep on moving with your life and eat breakfast or do sport or talk with your mother or whatever. You just do shit.
Well,
have a child.
Half the problem with social media is they're trying to talk to your mother half the time. It seems like certain fan bases.
But then you just turn the phone off.
True. It does. Yeah. Listen, that tech is there. You are right. There is a solution. There is a button that does turn the screen off. Right? We just don't. None of us press it.
Talk your daughter or your son, or talk with your parents or your best friends, and play a round of.
By the way, 2 things. One, I do have a point later which touched on social media, so I won't go into it here. But the other thing I will say is this. In a way, though, I will actually take what Peter says, and you'll be surprised, but I will agree. Believe it or not, look, if you are someone like me or Dom, it's just our style to be like entertaining and funny while shitting on someone who said something stupid. That is our style. We're intentionally going into the negative, and if I'm being really like fucking generous, like, we're alchemically transforming it into something fun and entertaining. We're also just being negative as fucking getting our rocks off, going, no, fuck, he's the idiot. Get him, guys, and turning the pitch mob around. But in a way, what we're doing only works on that base level as entertainment in the moment. If you actually did, by the way, want to make people understand the play and understand a higher level of thinking, you'd actually be better off doing what Peter's almost implying, just he didn't go this far. Instead of making the clip saying why that guy's clip was wrong, you just make your own clip and take the same scenario, ignore that garbage that guy said, and show actually, here's how a pro would think. Like, look, pause, I actually worked with this mid laner and he says here, like, you would look for like an angle to back out, or you'd watch if the support still had his health when he was at the edge of the... You'd just explain like fundamentals of the game. What you do is you'd essentially positively teach people what you can do and what does work, rather than just be like, essentially he's saying like, look at this idiot on this team, and you're going, no, look at you, the idiot, pointing at that idiot, which is all we're really doing, and then just being funny about it. So I know what you mean, Peter. It's true. In some ways, you are the one who could heal the world. It's just the problem is, you would, like all great prophets and mystical men, you wouldn't actually cause a revolution and rule the world. You'd spend all your time fucking healing lepers and helping sick fucking poppies and shit like that. So you'd be too, but here's the problem. You wouldn't actually, you need people like me to defeat Sauron, mate. You're Tom Bombadil. You're just off in the fucking forest somewhere, fucking going on. So it's all good, but the whole world isn't the Shire, Peter. I need you to understand that. That'll be a refrain of this show going forwards. The whole world is not the Shire. There's Mordor out there, mate. Anyway, there you go. That was just a layup for the coaches there, by the way. Fans don't know what they're talking about, do they, guys? Am I right? Like, I expected you to do some good stuff. Good. Right, let's go to the ugly. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.